You miss me just fighting with a mosquito flying around in here.
Dude, I was fighting with a mosquito last week. That's why I had to pause.
Oh.
It's a rash.
Little fucker.
Rash of fucking mosquito attacks. They're coming for us. Lock up your kids, lock up your wives. The fucking mosquitoes are coming.
It's weird, too, because, I don't know, I feel like this year wasn't too bad with mosquitoes.
You know what it was bad with? Fucking houseflies. They were fucking everywhere. Everywhere. Couldn't keep them out of my house. Couldn't keep them off my deck. They were just fucking constantly flying around, man.
Keep them off your dick.
Not my dick. My deck. My deck. Not my dick. Can't get them off my dick. Them houseflies. They love that dick. They love that Van Slider's dick.
Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good. It's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Hello, my name is Zachariah with Old Man Gaming. You, dear listener, for whatever reason, have decided to tune into another horrible gaming podcast. I'm not alone tonight. Usually, I'm never alone. With me is
Neil, a.k.a. a tiny wizard.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Coming at you. Back again. Once again. Don't call it a comeback, because we were here last week. Alright, so we're back. We're going to be talking about Gamescom today. Obviously, that's the big news right now. And then, that's basically it. And then some news. I think most of my news is going to be eaten up by Gamescom anyway. So we'll have to see how we do that, whether we save certain specific stuff or what. But before we get into any of that, we got to thank the people who help make this possible. Behind our ugly mugs is a custom graphic. All the custom graphics here at Old Man Gaming is provided by Mark Bell. We thank you for that. And then, of course, the theme song for this show and all shows here at Old Man Gaming are provided by the man who makes the music, my brother Nick Van Sliders. We thank him for that. We'll be right back with an absolutely gigantic fan interaction section.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our first segment, our most important segment. That's fan interaction. That's where we, the co-hosts, talk to you guys, the fans. We read out all your comments on the YouTubes and on all the other places that we may or may not find them. So, let's get right into it. First of all, just another shout out again. And I only shout this out because the man almost never fails to put comments down. And that would be Mr. William Howen. Yet again, your comment is absent from our thing, if you made one. It is possible that he's just not commenting right now because he's on vacation or something. If that's the truth, that's fine. I'm just so used to your comments, sir. We want to make sure. Let's get into it. The actual comments. First and foremost, Asylum66. Wizard going analytics on football. Browns are one of the few NFL teams that use analytics heavily. We'll see how well that has turned out. We see how well that's turned out.
That's true.
I hope it works better for you.
Yeah, we will see.
I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't. You can't win this for multiple reasons. Number one, because I fear that the jocks around you will murder you immediately for winning this when you know nothing about football. Number two, because I don't want you to be good at a thing. Because you're insufferable when you're good at a thing. Anybody who watches our streams, when Neil's good at a thing, he's insufferable.
I would more so feel bad for those who actually know and care about the thing and put passion behind it.
Yeah, you'd come in all nonchalant like, hey, it's crazy. I just won. I didn't even really try that hard. I'd be like, oh my God, I hate you so much. Moving on, Asylum66. Again, little excited for Alan Wake 2. First game with loads of fun. Like the idea of two characters, and you can choose when and if to play each of them. Alan Wake 2 does look interesting. It's not something that's really speaking to me, but I wouldn't count it out. I have not loved some of the things that company has done in the recent years, just in general with the way they've handled things. Rocksteady, right? That's Rocksteady, right? Some of the things they've done in the last couple of years have been
not Rocksteady.
Remedy. Thank you. I knew I was saying it wrong. Remedy. They usually a really good, solid company, but they made a lot of mistakes since Control, I think, and that's hurt them a little bit in my eyes. I did, however, love Control when I did get around to playing it, so I don't know. We'll see. It's like I said, it's not one that's speaking to me, but it definitely looks interesting. It does have a part of its trailer that we're going to talk about later in Gamescom, which drives me nuts. I have a real pet peeve that I want to talk about when we get there. Then Jason, all caps, sleep. I think he's doing a subliminal thing because I kind of read ahead. Then he said, I'm not a sports person, but I understand baseball. I understand basketball. I understand soccer. I understand hockey. I might not know all the nuances, but I understand how they work. Football baffles me.
Yeah, some of the things that are just like the basic things. Like we were watching a preseason game the other day, and I guess you can't interfere with somebody who's trying to receive a ball.
Yeah.
But the second they get the ball, you're
Tackle
allowed to tackle them. I don't understand. Why can't you just push them out of the way so they can't catch the ball? Like that's
because then you could never make a pass. You just run in and slam into the receiver, period, and then that would be it. Like you just have everybody take out the receivers. No one had ever passed the ball.
I mean, yeah, I guess. But then at that point, you know, like I've posed quite a few potential like formations and stuff for the like offense and defense. Like, why don't they all just like crowd around the quarterback in a big old circle and they move as a blob? That way, you're always going to gain yards. Like, I don't get it. Like, am I like thinking of something that nobody's thought before, or are they just like come up with a rule like, you know, that would lead to too many points. Let's not do that. I have
many duties on this channel. Explaining football to you is just not going to be one of them. So while I kind of understand why they wouldn't do that, I'm not going to go into this. I will say I did used to watch football. I used to be a football guy. For a very long time, when Brett Favre was on the Packers, I was a very big football fan. I would watch Sunday all day. I've been into hockey, I've been into football, and everybody knows I've been very into tennis for a good part of my life. I do not do sports anymore, just because I don't fucking have time for sports. So I don't do sports, but I do find them very interesting. Just especially the weird ones like cricket. Like there was a whole week where I was like, I have to figure out how to play cricket, like, because I would watch cricket matches, and first I downloaded the Game Pass version of cricket. They had like a cricket game on there, and I tried to play it, and I was like, I don't know what's like nothing is intuitive in this game. There's like balls and beer bottles and weird pegs and somebody running back and forth and then other people catching and then a pitcher. It's insane. And then I watched some of it. I'm like, I still don't know what's going on. People are just moving around the field. I don't know. And then finally I just like read a Wikipedia page on it. I was like, okay, I'm satisfied.
For me, like, it's curling.
I love those Broomers. Go Broomers. Go Broomers. Continuing, Jason then goes, tweets are now merely posts. You post on X, the most generic that ever generic. And he is right about that. I can confirm.
I love what I've heard people calling them now is zeets.
Zeets.
I think that's genius. And the fact that Elon Musk hasn't said, like, yeah, that's what we're going to do now baffles me.
I think Elon Musk is trying to kill the thing. I don't think he's actually trying to do anything good with it, because he tried to back out of the buyout in the first place, and then it ended up going through. I think he's just trying to murder it.
Massive tax write-off.
I think that's why he put it as X, like don't use this anymore. Like, do not come here. Like, I think that's why he switched it to X, to be honest.
So, it's funny you bring up like the legal stuff with Twitter or X or whatever the fuck you want to call it now. Yeah, because it changes like weekly. Because I've started occasionally listening to the videos of, you've mentioned this guy before, Legal Eagle.
Yeah. I don't actually watch him, but Melissa watches him a lot.
Oh, yeah, you've mentioned before. Yeah, I just kind of listen to it while I'm driving home because a lot of it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, he's very cool.
And that's one thing that he went in depth about was like the whole Elon buying Twitter and then like countersuing his lawyers because of how they charged him, not by like the hour, but like whether or not they succeeded. It was like a whole huge thing. It was just bizarre. But yeah, it's, you know, if it's Elon, it's got to be weird and complicated.
Yeah. I think Legal Eagle's cool. I keep trying to get Melissa to do a YouTube channel that's all about title work. I think she could be the first ever like title work YouTuber ever, because she's so good at that shit and nobody understands it. That like I think that would be such a good fucking YouTube channel if she just got on and like, today we're talking about like surveys and today we're talking about what a title company does and stuff like that. Like I think she could be really cool, because there's also a lot of legal precedent and stuff that goes into stuff like that goes into title work that they don't even talk about on the legal channels, you know. I keep trying to get her to do it. She won't do it. I was like, dude, we get so many hits. You know, you'd be a genre defining character. Like, you need to do it. Continuing, Jason, I don't think I've pre-ordered anything. The concept just never moved with my brain. I miss the days you could go to the video store and rent a game to see if you liked it first. So pre-ordering a game, just, I don't know. I don't disagree with that thought process. I have participated in pre-ordering. I'm not going to lie or say that I'm like above it. I have definitely pre-ordered stuff. The only time I've definitely pre-ordered stuff before I was smart. Now that I'm smart, I've still pre-ordered stuff, but it's usually after reviews have come out, and I know I'm going to definitely like it. Or it's I'm definitely going to buy this, good or bad, and I have money now. I don't want that money to accidentally get spent before the thing comes out. I'm going to pre-order to purchase it. So like if I'm dead set on purchasing something, regardless of reviews or anything, which is rare nowadays, but like Starfield, with how much trash I have talked about Starfield, I have to play Starfield day one. Like I have to. It's going into Games Pass, so I don't have to worry about purchasing it. Thank God. But that's one that it's like I would have to buy that. I'd have to spend my money on it. There's no way around it. With the way my pay works for the childcare, I get paid once a month. So like, in that kind of case, when I got paid, I would just pre-order it because I know I have to buy it. I know I'm getting it, and then I can just budget accordingly. You know what I mean? Like almost like a pre-budget method. With Remnant 2, I pre-ordered it to get early access but all the reviews had already come out. They had come out the day prior, and it was 9s out of 10s across the board, and I was already super interested in it. So I'm like, and it was already kind of a discounted price. Like, the premium price nowadays is $70. I know Jason disagrees with that, and I disagree with it too, Jason. But the market is now there's $70 games for the premium, $50 games for a little bit under. And so it was $70 to get it for the early access, for the pre-order stuff. Like, you got all the pre-order stuff with $70. I'm like, okay, I'll pay the little extra. And honestly, I did not regret it at all. That game is 100% my game of the year, still to this day. And I enjoyed every second of that early access. But again, I didn't purchase it before the reviews came out. But even that is kind of the wrong move, because I've already said it. I mean, the reviewers I checked out mostly were independent guys like ACG, Legacy Gaming, though Legacy Gaming I think is a little bit askewed sometimes, but ACG almost never is. So like, still, those pre-release copies go out. You have an incentive, you know what I mean, to give them a better review score. I still think like it's a thing that you kind of have to participate in, but I feel like you don't have to, but I kind of have to. But I feel like it shouldn't be there. I don't think there should be pre-orders, and I don't think there should be pre-release copies. I think it should come out on one day for every person across the board, period. You can't spend money on it till it does. We don't have supply issues anymore because the games are sold digitally. It's not like there's a line at a GameStop that you have to fight through. And I think that after that, if you want to wait for the reviews, you wait for the reviewers to get it done on their own time and then purchase it at that point. That's the way it should be done, because that way the reviewers are not incentivized to give good reviews. They don't get review copies, which are tampered with by the developers to make it better. And you don't have a massive loss of money for the consumer.
Yeah. I mean, the pre-ordering that I do it has been a bit lighter lately. Yeah. I mean, it was God of War Ragnarok and then Tears of the Kingdom. But I don't know. I kind of have followed that same sort of idea of I have the money now, I'm going to do it. So that way it's paid for and I don't have to worry about it later.
Right.
That said, because I've shifted now to pre-ordering through Amazon, because I don't even go into a GameStop anymore.
Yeah, neither do I.
Yeah, even I'm sad about it, but that's a whole separate thing. But yeah, the pre-ordering that I've done with Amazon, because I'm still hung up on physicals, how Amazon does their pre-orders is you don't get charged for it until it actually ships. So that's kind of backfired on me a little bit because... Yeah, I'm saying I'm going to purchase this
right.
now, but it doesn't come out. And then, I just remembered the other day that there's a book that I have pre-ordered that's going to be shipping in September sometime. Oh shit! Like that's something that I'm going to be paying for at some point.
At that point,
At that point, and I pre-ordered it back in March.
That's
February,
funny.
Something like
that. It even defeats the purpose of that in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Jason. I participate in it. So what I'm saying is I participate in it. I'm not exactly a fan of participating in it. And personally, I don't think it should exist. I don't think it should exist. I don't think pre-release reviews should exist. I think it should be like it was. I hate to sound like an old man, but it should be like it was back in the Sega and Nintendo days. Game comes out, that's when everybody gets it. Period.
Yeah, the one thing that you had mentioned that that frustrates me anymore is the pre-order for a couple days early access of the game, because there's, like you mentioned, there's really no other reason to pre-order a game anymore because of stuff like digital and everything like that. That makes sense that you wouldn't have to pre-order the game, but they have to have something to make you want to pre-order. And the only thing that they can do is early access of a game. But it frustrates me because then very clearly then it's done and ready to go and available to be played. Why do we not just put it out now?
Right.
Or at X time that, they say that you can play it.
Right. And honestly,
it's an early access title, but
honestly with Remnant, I truly believe that because they were publishing through Gearbox on Remnant 2, and I think that's a Gearbox thing. I think that's a thing that comes from the publisher, and then it's the same thing with which they had the class that one of the classes unlocks right at the beginning if you pre-ordered. Otherwise, you have to collect it, which I really like that they put a way in to collect it in the game. Because if you remember, Necromancer was always paid for no matter what, unless you pre-ordered it. And that thing came out in the beginning, so what's the point of the DLC? You know what I mean? Like, why? This is part of the game that you cut off. But there was a way to get it in the game. They just pre-unlocked it for people who had done it.
Yeah, that's one thing that they've stopped doing a lot that I've noticed is every single place that you could pre-order a game had a special something for skins or this or that, and I don't know what their whole thought process was on that. Did they expect it to be like a you're gonna pre-order it from multiple places and buy multiple copies to
Yeah,
get all of the things, like a
insane.
Pokemon situation, or
they're definitely hoping for that. That's for sure.
yeah, or I mean, is it just strictly like
Right.
we hope that our thing is better than the other thing, and it draws this type of person?
Jason then continues and says, all caps, marry and reproduce. Oh my god, I did that. He then continues, every time you say Evo, my brain goes to EVO, the search for Eden, which needs a modern remake. I don't remember saying Evo a ton. What the fuck were we talking about last time?
One of the odds about Evo, but that wasn't last week. That was the week before.
Oh, Evo, the fighting game. Okay,
Yeah.
Evo. I got you. Yeah, I never played EVO, the search, EVO, the search for Eden. I'm gonna have to look that up, Jason. I'll take your word for it, though. If car soccer can become super popular, it seems weird to me the car combat games has never really come back. I completely agree with that. Not only that, we have car golf now on Game Pass. There's that weird jet car golf game, which actually looks fun. I haven't gotten around to try it, though. Jason then continues, conform, all caps. He's definitely going for something. Then the next one, Rock Band 4 2015. I think he was just date checking us on that. He then continues, do you get to bet your soul against Satan's golden guitar? He then continues, my fake band is better than your fake band. But that would be cool in a game. I'm down for that. Have a battle of the bands online with two different bands. That would be cool. It'd be cool as hell.
Absolutely.
He then continues, all caps, consume. Then he says, one of the things I hated about those music games is they'd make one song from a band super popular. And it was never the band's best song. An example, Through the Fire and Flames by Dragon Force. Everyone is like, this band is awesome. Cool. But do you know other better songs of theirs? Starfire? No. Black Winter
Once
Night?
in a lifetime.
So Soldiers of the Wasteland? No. Go away. And then finally he ends, all caps, obey. So there you go. That is fan interaction. Do you got anything to add to that, or should we take off into Gamescom?
Let's take off into Gamescom.
All right, we're gonna
fly into that abysmal Jeff Keighley shaped sunset.
We're gonna get into it because abysmal is not the word I would use to describe Gamescom this year, but we are not going to do what we had been doing because I think we've both come to hate that format where we just read shit off a page and then talk about that shit, and everything takes really long and it becomes tedious. So we're going to kind of just talk about Gamescom. We're going to talk about the overall. We're going to talk about what excited us about it. We're going to talk about what misses. We're not going to get to every single fucking thing that was announced, especially since it was a week-long festival that's just now ended. But we're going to discuss just the high points and highlights. So feel free to put in the comments things we missed. We'll try and talk about them next week. But overall, we're just going to kind of go over the big identity of it and jump around a lot. Have more fun with it, I guess. Have more fun with the space.
Jump around.
Jump up, 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 and get down. All right.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Brings us to our talking points, ladies and gentlemen. That's Gamescom. Gamescom really, I would say, is the only real gaming festival left on the planet, really. So Gamescom is I believe it takes place in Britain, I want to say England, somewhere in there. Germany, thank you. And basically they set up tons of booths. People from outside can come and play demos. It's a big media scrum for all the media outlets. And you also get an opening day celebration hosted by Jeff fucking Keighley, who is like the roach that crawls into all of your video games. So that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about Gamescom. That just wrapped up as of today, I want to say. I think it ended with Digital Extremes' TennoCon, which I actually want to talk about that for a second at some point. But yeah, so I want to talk about something first, because I know we should get right in to the opening day ceremonies. But I want to talk about something that I have come to despise in video games, especially with trailers and advertisement and marketing. And I may be alone on this, but I feel as though I am going to echo my audience's feelings on this. Live action video game trailers are fucking
I'm
stupid,
so saying
annoying,
this.
and dumb. I don't want them. I don't want to see them. And also, why are you spending all of my refund money on fucking actors and sound stages and fucking direction and everything else for me to watch something that's never going to be in the game, that's not the game, that's just a bunch of actors pretending to be in the game? They're fucking terrible. And I'm going to say the biggest problem with this show that I had, and I actually thought Gamescom on a whole was good, was the amount of live action or halfway live action trailers that we saw. Starfield had this huge live action trailer. How much money do you think they put in that fucking live action trailer? It was like 13 minutes and it was like $1 million easy. Then we had the Alan Wake 2 one was partially live action. I don't want live action trailers anymore. Game companies out there, we have no interest in them. If we want a movie, we will go see a movie. Do not give us live action trailers anymore, man. I want gameplay. I want release dates. I want hard facts. I do not want live action trailers. They mean nothing. They absolutely mean nothing. They are a waste of my time. They are a waste of the consumer's time. Stop. And they're a waste of your money.
So I'm very glad that you brought this up.
I'm glad we're on the same page on this one, because I think if you had fought me on this, I would have lost my mind.
I echo this wholeheartedly. And honestly, I think it reeks of laziness and basically the companies like being so terrified to do anything now that they want to make sure that they eliminate any possible blowback.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, like if they have a cinematic trailer, they're like, oh, well, this is what the game looks like. No, it's not. Now they're just doing like real human beings to be like, okay, you can't tell us, X, Y, and Z. So here's somebody like an actual fucking actor doing live action stuff. It has nothing at all to do with anything. And honestly, to me, the live action trailer feels more so like a cheap relic of the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Because there were a lot of games that did that. Because they didn't have the ability back then to have the technology to do something that was like CG, but almost like realistic.
Mm-hmm.
So they would just, say, screw it, hire somebody and actually, shoot a live action trailer. Like it can be okay if it's just like an announcement initially, but like Starfield, we know has been coming out. This commercial that they had, it was a commercial. It wasn't even a trailer. It's something that you would see on TV to drum up hype, between, a weekly episode of some reality TV show. That has no bearing on the game whatsoever of what it's going to look like, what it's going to be like, what it's going to feel like. Honestly, you could have taken that default shot and like the whole thing was like the patch for the group.
Yeah.
It could have literally just been like a stock video that like they could have just had a thing that just says insert patch here, and they just sell it to they could sell it to an aviation company. They could sell it to a game company. They could sell it to anybody to where it would fit. Just slap in whatever you want to slap in there.
I have been wrong before. I am willing to admit I've been wrong before. So if you are out there and you are listening and you are a person who actually gets excited when they see a live action trailer for gaming, for the game, not just excited in general. I mean, like, it makes you want to play the game more when you see a live action trailer. Put it in the comments why. And I won't attack you. I legitimately am curious if there is anybody out there who watches one of these fucking things and goes, "Ooh, yeah, I gotta go pre-order Starfield." Like, that's fucking insane. Nobody looks at a bunch of actors anymore in this era. And you're right, back in the day, back in the 90s, the early 2000s, you couldn't really show game footage in a trailer and make people go, cool. Like, so they had all sorts of different weird live action ads. I remember the ad for Sonic Adventure 2 was like 2 actual hedgehogs, and like one of them was like bad and the other one was good. And, like, it was crazy shit back then. But nowadays, when the game footage is this good, who is watching a live action trailer and going, yeah, I definitely want to play Starfield now? Nobody. I don't think anybody. That's my suspicion. I think they are fucking, just like you said, relics of the past. We do not need them anymore. They are a waste of my fucking time and energy. They are a waste of your money, like the company's money. Like, how about you take all the money you spent on that gaudy-ass bullshit trailer and lower the price per unit by $5? Okay? That's what I want. That's what I want. Like, or take that money and spend it on an actual trailer. Don't fucking show me that shit anymore. I hate that shit. It's super frustrating. So now we've got that out of the way. Let's move on to some more positive, well, maybe positive things. Opening night, the overall, you said you didn't like it. It wasn't doing it for you.
Nah, it wasn't doing it for me. Honestly, there was only one moment that I truthfully like enjoyed.
Okay.
And that was the very first thing that they did. Right, and it happened right.
I looked it up after you said it.
Oh, you suck.
I could not.
So right before they go into the Starfield stuff, Keighley just needs, I don't know, better security detail or something.
I think it's engineered.
Things.
I said it the last time.
I'm starting to think now that, yeah.
What was the last one where the guy wandered out? Was it the Game Awards again? Like,
yes.
Every time that motherfucker's on stage, some shit happens. It's Jose Ferris screaming "fuck" at the Oscars.
Yeah.
And then it's a guy running the stage, and then it's the weird balls that were rolled down and stuff, and now it's somebody attacking.
Now it's Grand Theft Auto Bill Clinton kid.
I don't buy it for a second. I think it's this dude is just fucking having dudes come out and do. It's a viral moment so that he can get more eyes on it. That's what it is.
Yeah, I have to say is like the first time that happened with last year when that happened, I thought it was hilarious with the kid showing up on stage for the Game of the Year award.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. And it's like, okay, they're never going to let that happen again.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, they let it happen again.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it happens again in winter for Keighley's Winter Fuck Fest.
Yeah.
Then there's 100% like it's all staged, like straight up and down.
It just is. I don't buy it anymore. Like every fucking one of his shows has these moments. So it was lackluster to you. As far as the opening night, I do want to say the reason I didn't watch it for everybody out there is I don't watch these shows anymore. I straight up don't watch the show. The show part of this shit it's garbage. It's Keighley up there stroking his own ego, and it's like what I do is I know the day that it's coming out, and I just keep refreshing YouTube because that's what my YouTube is key to that shit, and I know everything that pops up there is going to be on IGN 10 seconds later. So I just refresh it. Oh, new trailer, watch it. Refresh it, new trailer, watch it. Oop, new trailer, watch it, you know. I'm going to say right now, this is probably not a game for me, but that being said, I think it had a really good showing here. I think people are very excited for it, and that's Black Myth Wukong. I think had a very good presence here. Its trailer was pretty epic. That's the Souls-like, where you play the Monkey King from Chinese myth, and this has been coming for a while now.
Long time.
And it actually it looks really good. I mean,
Yeah,
really
I'm very
good.
curious.
Yeah. That was a big highlight. The biggest highlight for me opening day, without a doubt, was Crimson Desert out of nowhere. That game looks phenomenal. That trailer looked phenomenal. They actually showed gameplay of it this time instead of just like kind of the cinematic thing they did the first time. And really, so just to give some history on this, Pearl Abyss made Black Desert, which is a very widely successful MMO. Then they made an absolute nightmare of a shooter called Crossover or whatever. I can't remember. Crossfire X, something like that.
Yeah.
However, I think like 10 years ago, not 10 years now, probably like 3 years ago now, we saw trailers for Plan 8, which was a game where you build exoskeletons and fight robots. We saw a trailer for Crimson Desert, which was like a fantasy Viking thing, it almost looked like. We saw trailers for like 2 other things. At like, I want to say like a summer game fest or something like that.
There was some K-pop.
That came out. That's out.
Oh, that came out?
Doken something. Doken.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's out. That's been reviewed and everything. Yeah, that's been out. But Crimson Desert and Plan 8 vanished after that. We got cinematic trailers from them, so not anything really, just an idea of what it is, and then just nothing. They were really big, like everybody was covering those cinematic trailers, then we just didn't hear about them, and all of them got delayed indefinitely. Because if I recall correctly, all the trailers came out like right before COVID hit, and everybody was like, "Yeah, those aren't coming out anymore." Well, Crimson Desert came out of nowhere. They're definitely still working on it, and it had solid, cool, open world gameplay. I'm very intrigued to see what that game is. It definitely doesn't look like it falls into the usual MMO tropes that Black Desert does. So I'm really interested to see what that is. The sword fighting combat that they did in it looked really good and interesting. I don't know. It definitely piqued me a little bit. I'm going to be watching it. It's not one that I haven't seen enough right now to be like all in day one, but like it definitely piqued my interest and got me a little bit excited. I thought it was it was one of the big surprises at the show.
So I think one of the things that actually kind of caught me by some relative surprise.
Okay.
The one that kind of made me be like, oh wait, I care about this. Is the Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty, the Cyberpunk 2.0 expansion. I'm not gonna say that this is gonna do everything that it said that they promised right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from the actual Phantom Liberty expansion, they are basically launching a 2.0 version of the game.
Yes.
They're redoing the perk system. They're promising improved like police AI. They're doing like actual vehicle combat and chases now. So we're getting on par from what they had mentioned that they had originally said that they were going to do.
Yeah.
I will be very curious to see when that expansion comes out and that 2.0 version comes out, what that changes and how that changes like the overall feeling that people have towards Cyberpunk, and if it puts it more on par with like this is what the game should have been when it launched.
Well, I'm gonna ask the audience right now, and I'm gonna let them vote, because Cyberpunk, everybody knows my ordeal with Cyberpunk and what has gone down. I can't get a refund out of them. There's just no way. I've tried everything. I've given up. However, because I can't get a refund, I still own that game. It's still mine. When 2.0 comes around, do you want me to take another shot at it and see if they finally delivered the game that they said they were going to deliver in the first place? I don't think they have. I still think they overpromised is my thing. I think it's going to be a solid experience. I think probably now it's a solid experience. It's just my problem is they promise things, they never delivered, and from what I see, don't have any like idea of delivering,
I would be very curious. I mean, I'll be the first one to vote in this, as I would be very curious to see what you would have to say about, because you've not gone back to it since basically launch, correct?
I tried so hard to play it at launch, and no, I have not. Because I just decided if I'm trying to get a refund out of it, I'm not even going to have it on my hard drive. Yeah, I'm not even going to touch that fucking thing. So, and I have been trying to get a refund. They've stopped emailing me, so I'm...
I was about to say, I think at this point, we've all kind of...
I think we've done it. It's done. I'm not getting my money. I should get my money, but I'm not getting my money. So that's fine. I might take another swing at it after Phantom Liberty comes out and just see. It's never going to be a game I play because it has hurt me. It has hurt me, and that wound will not heal. But yeah, I think that's really interesting. I think that's interesting you brought it up. My biggest problem too isn't even that the game, like, that's great that they're getting around to making the game better, but like, no matter how you spin this to me, you promised something you didn't deliver. You overpromised on something you didn't deliver. And now we have to pick up the pieces. You know what I mean? So, like, great. You've got a 2.0 coming out with more experience to it. But, like, it's still not what you promised. And one of the biggest problems with the games industry is the consumers at large forget. And I'm going to tell you right now, I never forget. We've already talked about this. I never forget. Zach is Pepperidge Farms. I remember, okay? I remember what Cyberpunk promised, and I remember what they delivered. And I'm not going to forget that. Especially since I don't think right now they're going to deliver on that. I think what they're going to do is they're going to be like, well, people will be happy with the changes, so they'll forget all the things that we did promise, you know?
Yeah.
Continue. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, I mean... I think not to belabor on Cyberpunk, but I think the main reason that Cyberpunk could not initially get away with the, well, we'll fix it later mentality is because this game was hyped up to be so many different things, so much all at once.
Yep.
And there was such a long and storied tale to it. And the fact that it was like, it's strictly straight up and down a single player, narrative driven, no multiplayer, no anything, even though there initially was going to be a multiplayer factor to it. A whole lot of Zero, came out in regard to that. It was just touted as this big accomplishment. Whereas something that's like a live service or something like that, you can put it out and be like, lean on the fact, well, these things are always getting fixed and improved, so
right.
It's fine. I feel like that's why Cyberpunk couldn't get away with it.
Yeah, I think that it's one of the biggest that's one of my biggest concerns with Starfield is I feel like that's the same thing. They've really overpromised here, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie. This last week, because what they would do is they would promise, and then like the next day they'd be like, "Yeah, but it's not quite that." I feel this last week they've been like really double downing on the over promising with like Todd Howard going on and saying that like the game doesn't even start until you finish the story. I'm like,
yeah,
what the fuck do you mean the game doesn't even start till you finish the story? Like, is there more story? Like, I don't like that kind of stuff. Overhypes people. You know what I mean? It makes people think that there's more there. And I've already watched a couple of videos where people are already like taking comments and then they're speculating on what those comments mean. And that's not their fault. It's the company's fault because they say things that'll be like, oh, it's this. And then, but they don't give it a defined nature. They'll say something like, you can romance NPCs. But they don't give it a defined nature, so everybody just starts speculating. I can marry anybody, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
or it's like it was stated as one thing, but when you boil it down in the end, it's actually something entirely different.
Entirely
Because
different.
they were like, you can romance anybody in this group of 4 people.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. So I do want to talk about something slightly negative for a second, and so this game, I am really torn on this game because this game has looked really interesting and cool to me since day one. But I am a real critic of their messaging on it so far, and that's not going to stop today. I'm talking about Nightingale.
I was
from the new developers, all Massive X BioWare kind of Mass Effect people. Looks really interesting, like survival, but it's kind of got this weird, almost like Victorian, steampunky feel to it, and you world hop and slay things. They showed off a new trailer, and they gave finally gave a release date for their beta. Their beta is in February of next year, and I just want to point out, this is a delay. This is something that bothers me, is they presented this trailer like, here it is. And you're like, wait, you said this was going to be out this year. You said this was going to be out fall this year. And their messaging on this game has been absolute shit. When they first launched it, they said, join the beta, but you couldn't join a beta because there was actually no beta. You joined a newsletter for them to potentially invite you to alpha testing. But they never actually invited anybody to alpha testing. They never did any of that. And then they just kept showing trailers and saying that it was coming this year, that a beta was coming this year, or early access was coming this year, but never actually gave a date or anything. Now they've said the early access is coming next year, February 22. And I will be honest, I'm excited about this game, but the messaging that they have presented makes me very nervous, and it definitely assuages some of my excitement.
So, so this is one of those things, this game, I remember when they first announced it and everything, I was like, wow, it looks interesting, but it's straight up and down like the antithesis of everytheverything that I enjoy in gaming.
Yeah, I remember that, because you were like, I'm really excited. I was like, you don't know what that game is, do you?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is it looks like something that it's not, which is throwing me off.
Yeah.
But, the thing that actually kind of kills me with that is that game is now not that game, but the whole multiverse thing is the new zombies.
Yeah.
It's in everything now.
My wife was talking about it because one of my wrestling shows was called Multiverse United, and she was like, Multiverse is in wrestling now?
Right.
I was like, it's a forbidden door thing, but still, yeah, multiverse is a hot button. There's a multiverse. Everybody's got to have one.
Everything's got a multiverse, and it's starting to get to the point that we've run out of the good ideas, and multiverse is like that thing. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter was the first time that I was like, wow, we really have no ideas for anything. We're just gonna say, hey, what if history but vampires? That's this. What if survival game but multiverse? They're just slapping multiverse on stuff now and calling it a thing.
Yeah.
Movies, TV shows. I mean, it works sometimes, but in this case, I get the vibe from this game that it's just I don't know. I don't think it was this isn't a knock on it or anything, but I feel like it was just one of those things to where they came up with an idea and they were like, but we need to add just an extra little bit of zhuzh to it to give it a little extra flair. I know, multiverse. One person had the idea and the other was like, yeah, fucking that, multiverse, let's do that. And
that's maybe I'm I'm still interested in it. It still looks good. It does speak my language a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this. I'm not actually a big survival game guy. Like the whole feed yourself, drink water all the time thing. Like I'm not huge into that. I like building and I like crafting and I like looting for things. But like the idea like Medieval Dynasty and those kind of games are like, all right, I gotta cut down 7 trees to build my house, and then I gotta go find some fucking twigs to put the trees together. Then I gotta put I don't like that much empty real life work in my video games usually. So I don't know. That was actually a little off putting to me. I did like the multiplayer aspect, and I also like that you can build like it's not like huts and shit. It's like you build like really big, cool buildings in the cities. In it, and I do like the questing and the weapon kind of feel of it, but I still have high hopes. Their messaging has been atrocious on this thing, so hopefully no more delays. This does go into early access next February, and we can see what they actually offer for us.
So I'm trying to think. I think there's only really one other thing that I kind of wanted to bring up, and I don't know. I feel like this is one thing that we haven't super talked about, you and I, because we're both fans of it. How are we feeling about Sonic Superstars?
Well, that is one of the things I was going to talk about too. I don't know. I've gone on record here. I love Sonic, and I loved the old Sonic games, but the old Sonic games did a thing that in my older age I've come to hate, which is I don't like in a game where it teaches you to do something and then punishes you for doing the thing that it taught you to do. Like, that's not the thing that I like. I like when a game teaches you to do something, and if you do that correctly, you accomplish it. If you fail it, you get punished. With Sonic, especially the original ones, and I still love them. There's still, like, nostalgic love in my heart for them, but, like, as an adult who has been playing video games now for 20 plus years, it's very, very frustrating when it's like, hey, run fast. And then you run fast into a wall of spikes. And it's like, you told me to run fast. It's like, yeah, but you had to jump. You never told me to jump. You didn't ever told me that I have to jump. You just put spikes there. So, like, it becomes this, like, level memorization thing. So 2D Sonics don't really have the same sway over me that they used to. I'm much more into it becoming a successful 3D franchise, which I think it accomplished with Sonic Frontiers. So I don't know how I am with Sonic Superstars, especially since this trailer showed off that it's got 4-player co-op on screen, and I just want to say 4-player co-op in platform can be dumb fun, but it is very hard. Melissa and I have played the Mario Wii U stuff, and you're constantly running into each other. You're constantly knocking each other off cliffs and stuff like that, which is kind of fun, kind of in the moment, but to play it long term, it just ends relationships. And that's in a Mario game where you're not necessarily moving fast. With Sonic, the whole thing's about speed. I'm very worried with a 4-player co-op focused game that's 2D Sonic that it will be extremely fast. They'll have some sort of weird little brother thing where like if you can't stay on the screen, you just vanish. Or is it gonna split? Is it gonna split screen seamlessly? Like I don't understand how they're gonna do this. And honestly, I was much more excited for it. Like I said, I was never going to get like super hyped for it because of the reasons I previously mentioned. But I was much more excited for it the first trailer we saw where it was just Sonic running around, you know. This trailer showed all 4 characters like moving through the environment together, and you're like, this is like, this looks like me and my daughter playing and her crying. Like, that's what this looks like to me.
Yeah. I think everybody had, at one point or another, somebody that they played with, and whoever had Tails in Sonic 2 It was always the same thing. Whoever was Sonic would take off, Tails would be off screen, and if you were playing with somebody who is a particular type of dick, they would make sure that Sonic was constantly moving so that Tails never landed, so you never got to play.
Never
and
got to play.
It wound up just being you watching them play.
Yep.
Honestly, I think my biggest issue with it, I think it's mainly because I've been burned so badly with Sonic the Hedgehog 4. I'm terrified that it's going to wind up being like Sonic the Hedgehog 4. That 3D was trash for it. Sonic Mania was a godsend when that came through. I very much think that Sonic is what would be one of those franchises where they can do both.
Yeah.
They can have their mainline regular releases in 3D to be the ones that are like the main money makers, but still have every 5 to 8 years a new 2D pixel art version of the game come out.
Yeah.
And they even alluded to that whenever Sega had made some sort of statement that like, this is what the formula is going to be going forward. We're going to have 2D and we're going to have 3D. And I mean, they're technically not wrong. I just thought that they would be sticking with that same art style.
Right.
Sonic Mania is one of my favorite Sonic games of all time. I got the DLC and I've played through now every single character and beat the game with every single character and have a save file for them.
Right.
I was hoping that's what this other Sonic game was going to be. I'm worried. I would have to watch some sort of reviews or anything before I pull the trigger and buy that one, because I don't know. I'm more in line with the traditional Sonic games.
Well, you won't have to wait long nonetheless, because it does come out October 17th, which is a lot sooner than I was expecting it.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, the trailer definitely made me more nervous than more excited for it. I will say that. Yeah. I do want to. We're running low on time, so I want to kind of move a little bit. Because I really want to talk about the stuff at the TennoCon. The one thing in particular. But I do want to say, overall, one thing I absolutely love about Gamescom is the interviews and the media people talking directly to us. And that's the kind of thing that we used to get at E3 that we don't get because E3 is not a thing anymore. We don't get it at Summer's Games Fest because it's just IGN. Gamescom, you actually have people interviewing people. They're on the show floor. They're talking about their feelings on a demo or a game right afterwards. I specifically love the fact that they did a 7-minute demo video of Towerborn, which everybody knows that's my next underground Zack game. And then they talked to the developer about it for 6 minutes, which was really cool. That kind of stuff is the thing we miss out on when E3 goes away, and Gamescom is the only place you still get that. And that's one of the things that was the high point of Gamescom for me was we are getting some of that feedback from people actually watching or playing things, which I enjoyed, Yeah. So the other thing I want to talk about, unless you have something to add to that.
No.
TennoCon was kind of how Gamescom finished it off. Obviously, it wasn't at Gamescom, but they always schedule it right here. And TennoCon is the Warframe is so big that it's got its own con now. But one of the coolest things about Digital Extremes is they actually have another game coming that they've been showing off through TennoCon, and that's called Soulframe. They had a 31-minute gameplay demo that I urge anybody to go check out. That game looks absolutely phenomenal. It looks like a completely different animal from Warframe, which surprised me. And this was really the first time we saw a little pre-alpha demo thing. I want to say early this year or late last year. But this was the first time we really saw what Soulframe was going to be. And personally, I've just been kind of expecting it to be play and look exactly like Warframe, but fantasy. You know what I mean? It's not. it's not at all. They went much harder roleplay. They got a lot more in depth on the like they slowed combat way down, and it's much more methodical in this. I was very excited when I was done with this 1 minute gameplay reveal. I urge anybody to go check it out because it looks amazing. It still has some of the tenets of Warframe, like the procedurally generated dungeons on the missions, and stuff like that. And you can definitely tell, like, some of the aesthetic choices are like, oh, this is Warframe Medieval, you know? And some of the way the NPCs pop in and talk to you are very Warframe-esque. But the combat, the feel, how you create the characters, and they're also doing some stuff that's really interesting with, like, the powers and character generation and stuff like that I'm very excited for. Like, the whole game is about finding ancestors and reconnecting them to you and your tribe, which then sets up a spiritual village on a different plane that you can visit. And I was like, that sounds cool right there. This is just right off the bat, that's cool. But the ancestors that you find and bring to the village are the kind of build options you end up getting for your character. Which just, man, there's a part where he rides a giant wolf at one point. Like, I'm like, oh god, that trailer blew me away. And it is one of the first things in a long time that I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to hear more about that game.
Yeah, I was very much expecting that game. I had not watched this gameplay.
You should, man. You should check out like the first 10 or 15 minutes of it at least, because it's really interesting stuff.
Yeah, I was very much expecting it to be just another live service copycat spin-off of, hey, you like this, right? It's the same thing, but in a different setting.
Yep.
But it kind of sounds like it's not.
I'm going to actually send you a link to the video so that you can watch it at some point. Because it really isn't. I was just thoroughly blown away. Because, honestly, I like Warframe. I would have been okay with this is just Warframe but medieval. You know what I mean? Like, that would have been fine with me. I would have been accepting of that. But this is not that. And, like, they definitely reworked some systems. And I like that they did that, too. Because that's going to be, like, it's going to be a different flavor. Instead of just a different setting, it's going to be a different flavor. It's going to be like, do you want the fast-paced, kind of crazy arcadey gunfighting and ninja fighting of Warframe, or do you want the slower paced medieval sword fights of Soulframe? I'm really interested and really intrigued by this game, and it is very original in flavor too, which is rare nowadays. So all right, well, with that done, if there's anything else you want to add to Gamescom, or should we head to news?
Let's head on over to our news.
All right. Well, and if there is anything at Gamescom that you guys think we should discuss that we failed to discuss here, put it in the comments below. We'll talk about it next week. We don't have any problem with that. Like I said, it's a week-long festival. There was literally hundreds of trailers coming out every day. It's impossible for us to talk about all of it. So we'll be right back with your news stories.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Brings us to our last segment, ladies and gentlemen, the news. We like to collect news stories, tell you about those news stories, headlines that interest us, that may interest you, riff about them, all of that stuff. So, for the news, Neil, I have 4. How many do you have?
I also have 4.
But now! All right, who wants to go first then?
I'll go first because...
You're going to steal one of mine, so you should probably go first.
Oh, so you did put it on your list anyways.
I actually already had it on my list. I just forgot to remove it, and now I'm seeing it there, and I'm like, oh, okay, I forgot to remove that. So I actually technically only have 3 once you say it, but I'll let you say it.
So, big news came out this past week. Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario for many years now, nearly 20 years at this point, is actually going to be stepping away from the role of doing the voice acting for Mario. He's actually going to be something, whatever the hell this is, a Mario ambassador, whatever that's supposed to mean. In fact, they also revealed that the voice of Mario in that Super Mario Brothers Wonder trailer is already the new person who is going to be doing the voice. So he didn't even do the voice for that, leaving his last official voice role for a Mario project being the Mario movie. But, not as Mario. Which, yeah.
Two different characters.
Yeah, two different characters. And honestly, I don't know if this is something that was in the works. I really hope that it's not something that, like, it was just him being bitter about.
I don't think that's it. I think he's stepping away because he's old, dude. And he's...
I mean, yeah, he's older for sure.
Like, there could also be an illness thing we don't know about. Something along those lines. I hope that's not it. But I don't foresee this being any sort of, like, nastiness. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm sure that if there is nastiness, we'll hear about it in the next year or two. But, but yeah, what's funny to me is like part of me is almost like, oh, so that's why he didn't voice Mario in the movie. That's why Chris Pratt got the part. Like he was already planning on walking away. Like, I almost feel like it's the opposite. Like, he's been doing this for how many years, and he's just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'm ready to be retired. I don't know. I think it's really interesting. I don't think it's bitterness because, from what I understand, he worked very closely with Chris Pratt on the whole movie thing, at least according to Chris Pratt. So, like, I don't feel like that would be... You know what I mean? I don't think that would happen if you were super bitter. I also don't think you then voice two separate side characters if you were bitter. You know what I mean?
That's true, yeah.
So I don't think it's necessarily bitterness. I think more or less he was already planning on stepping away, and this has been something in the works. But yeah, I mean, everybody deserves a break. Everybody deserves to be done. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's true.
Like, stop trying to make Robert Downey get in the Iron Man suit. Just like they've done enough, man. They've done enough.
No, I think he's got one more run in Secret Wars, and then call
fucking
quits.
Marvel people.
Just one more. Just one more Marvel in Secret Wars.
No, then you'll just say just one more after that.
No,
you guys are always saying one more. He's dead. Let him be dead, man. Jesus Christ.
Secret Wars is where it's gonna undo everything. I've also noticed that this podcast over the past month has slowly become a movie cast.
It's got a couple of movie stuff in there, but just let them be done. Let people be done every once in a while. Let characters and movies and roles be done. Like, that needs to happen. We get the franchise fatigue, man. All right, well, I'll go with my first actual one then. You know what? I'm gonna get the shitty one out of the way. I don't know. Part of me even thinks that I should lobby this for half points, but when it comes to prediction time. But Microsoft thinks it's found a way around the UK because they're the only peoples, the CMA, and bravo to you, CMA. Bravo to you. The UK is holding tight. They're like, no, this is not good. It's not legal. We're not undoing it. The Microsoft's last appeal went through to the CMA ruling, and they said, no, it's upheld. So what they have to do now is they have to redo the deal in some way to get it through the CMA, the consumer marketing authorities stuff in the UK. To do this, they have sold the cloud streaming rights of all Activision Blizzard games to Ubisoft. Let me make clear what this means to everybody.
How the fuck did I miss this?
I don't know how you missed this. This is huge.
Jesus.
So let me make clear what this means.
What the fuck is happening?
Ubisoft does not own any of the products, any of the games. What they instead do is they take a cut of them, and when they are played on cloud services, and those cloud services, who gets to stream those games are decided by Ubisoft. That has to be directly purchased from Ubisoft. This is the weirdest agreement in the world. So basically what happens is if you're a cloud-based service and you're like, hey, I want Call of Duty on my cloud-based service, you don't go to Microsoft, you go to Ubisoft. And Ubisoft is like, yeah, sure, you can, but you have to direct all the checks to Microsoft. Like, that's what this is. It's insanity. However, I do feel it totally gives my argument weight that Ubisoft and Microsoft have been in a room together for the last 2 years trying to negotiate a settlement, but can't because of all this FTC stuff that keeps coming up, so they can't announce. Because this is crazy. And also, so the whole plan now is Phil Spencer's like, well, now that we've sold it to them, they run the cloud-based stuff, which is what the UK's biggest problem was with the deal. We're going to resubmit the deal because the deal is a new deal. It's not the same deal anymore because of this now. And they have to all over again reject it. But he's like, but they're not going to reject it now because Ubisoft actually decides what services the Activision Blizzard games go on.
So yeah, first and foremost, the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. It's like some crazy ass circular logic to find grasping at straws to make something go through.
Well, and what you're gonna do, what you're immediately gonna do if this does go through, what do you think they're gonna do immediately if this went through? They'll buy Ubisoft.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like, so this is gonna be all the more awkward when they close this Activision Blizzard deal, and then in a year or two they announce that they're gonna try to buy Ubisoft.
Yep.
Completely negating all this faffery that's going on right now to make this shit go through. Honestly. Please, for the love of all that is good and holy, there has to be one single human somewhere who is just like, hey, hold on a second. Like, there has to be somebody.
Other than us?
Tell me that
I don't know.
We're not. Please tell me that the people running all of this shit are not that fucking stupid.
It's mind-boggling. Because now, the other thing is, too, now, this is a huge influx of cash to Ubisoft, right? So, in a way, Microsoft just bought Ubisoft because Microsoft now has leverage over Ubisoft via this whole fucking deal. So, like, in a way, Microsoft is like, oh, well, we can't buy you because of everything that's going on with the FTC. So we're going to work out this fucking insane agreement where we can basically feed you money via our products. But they're still our products, so you're still kind of, you know what I mean? Like, you're kind of tied to us. Like, that kind of stuff drives me nuts. And I will be very surprised if we don't start seeing almost all the Ubisoft games going to Game Pass. Because why not? Like, at this point, why wouldn't you? You'd be like, well, we got to put it on Game Pass because Microsoft likes us now. Like, This is like a way around buying Ubisoft and having to deal with that backlash. It's a way around not being able to buy the Activision Blizzard. It's just the loopholiest loophole that's ever loopholed.
It's a double loophole.
It's a double loophole. It is insane fucking tomfoolery. And just ridiculous. Please, CMA, Consumer Market Authority, you guys, for some reason, have been an absolute bastion of good sense and intelligence up until now.
Until now.
Please don't look at this deal and go, yeah, this works. Please.
This is fine.
Please don't do that.
They said they pinky swear. So, like, it's okay.
Yeah, right. All right, well, that was my only negative one, thankfully.
So I'm gonna go on to my next one. Guess what, guys? The PSP is back, kind of. In that Sony has finally given a name to Project Q.
God in heaven.
Project
this
Q.
fucking thing.
Project Q is called the PlayStation Portal.
This fucking thing.
So
I didn't put this on my news, but I cannot wait to talk about this.
So the PSP, the PlayStation Portal here, we got a price on it, and it is $200.
$200.
And I know I was kind of surprised because I was expecting something closer to $300, but $2 is fine.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. $200 when you need the system?
For what it does,
it's not worth $200.
So an Elite controller is almost $200. This thing is basically an Elite controller with a screen.
Yep. Yeah.
It requires Wi-Fi connection. It can be done across 2 Wi-Fi, so you can have your PS5 work as a server at home, and you play games on this thing where you are out and about, but then you're worried about 2 internet connections and not just 1. It also has no Bluetooth at all.
None.
It's 0 Bluetooth. It requires use of Sony's proprietary PlayStation or Sony Link wireless connection to be able to do anything. Literally nothing at all runs natively on it. It requires the connection. If you cut this thing on and try to do anything on it outside of connect to the internet to use this, it's not going to do anything.
Nothing.
I think for what it actually does,
oh,
and
please
while
don't
it's
tell
a
me
very
this is good.
market niche, no, it's not.
Okay.
Good. No,
please.
it's not good.
Please.
But a $200 price is pretty appropriate for what it doesn't do.
No.
I guess is more so.
No.
No. I mean,
disagree.
I don't think this is something that
I'd maybe pay $100 for it if I was a PlayStation guy. Maybe.
It's
$200 is fucking stupid.
I mean, you got to think too. It is a controller with a screen built in it.
It's a Wii U. It's a PlayStation
it
U.
turns it into a Wii U.
That's what it is. It's a PlayStation U.
Your controller runs $70.
When this was announced,
so $130 is the touch screen and the wireless bullshit. I think it's pretty on par.
I think that's insane. I think the idea that you're buying a screen with a controller on it that only works with the games and system you already paid $600 worth. IGN did a story on this right afterwards. Right after it was announced. The story was PlayStation Portal versus the Steam Deck. I read the article. The article was like 2,000 words of different ways of saying it's not that, it's not ever going to be that, it's not anywhere close to that. Like every comparison was like, well, the Steam Deck does all this, Portal doesn't. The Steam Deck does all this, Portal doesn't. Well, the Steam Deck does all this, Portal doesn't. Well, this is fucking insane. And I think Sony's tone deaf on this. The idea that you would be like, you would look at the worst selling console / peripheral in the history of gaming and be like, we should do that now, is insanity to me. If this sells well, I don't know. I don't know how I continue this podcast at that point, because I'm truly out of touch with the consumer if this sells well at that, because it's not a $200 handheld, it's a $700 handheld. Like
it's not a $200 handheld, it's a $200 controller.
Because
and that's what I was getting at with like the Elite or like even the PlayStation Edge controller. Honestly, even their premium PlayStation Edge controller, it's $180. So
which
$20
is
more
insane.
dollars is this thing.
I want to go ahead and double down on the whole appropriate price thing. I would not pay $180 for a controller if you put a fucking gun in my mouth. That's insane.
I have 2 of them.
I don't want to talk about that right now because you're my friend, and I would say things to you that would make you not my friend anymore. That's an insane amount of... But you also... paid for a light around your bed. I think that, like...
That's fair.
I think that, like, that's an insane amount. I will never pay that much for a controller. The day that, like, controllers cost $180 standard will be the day I am no longer a video gamer. Like, period. Like, that's an insane amount of money to spend for a controller. An insane amount of money to spend for a controller. The top I've ever spent out is $80. Top.
It reminds me of... Do you remember years ago Sony did a PlayStation television?
No, I do not.
Yeah, so Sony did this thing. It was a 3D TV. It was PlayStation television, and there were a very limited number of games that were able to do this. But it was simultaneous split screen on the full screen. It had a whole bunch of gimmicks associated with it. It was basically kind of had the specs of a computer monitor. At high refresh rate, everything like that. But the one big gimmick that it had was you could wear 3D glasses and sit at a particular angle staring at the TV to where two people could be playing at the same time and only see their screen, because it was two separate images overlaid on top of each other from two different angles. So they sold a whole ass TV for that.
No screen cheating.
Right. I think that was one of the taglines for it too.
That's funny.
But yeah, they made a PlayStation TV for that. It is very reminiscent of that. They are creating, they are manufacturing a problem or a product for a problem that does not exist.
Ugh. Yeah, I agree. I think that this is a really, really dumb product. Like, one of the dumbest products PlayStation has ever put out in the history of products, to be honest.
I think if I ever buy one of those, it's gonna be
Fucking
when it's
meal.
like maybe $100, because
if I was a PlayStation 5 guy, I would consider it for $100, or I'd consider putting it on a birthday or a Christmas list.
Right.
You know, like okay, I get it, but like, but $200
the big problem,
and you can't even use anything with it. Like,
the massive, huge asterisk problem with this is it demands an immaculate internet connection.
Yeah.
If you have
On
an internet
Wi-Fi
connection that's even just good,
right?
even if it's
Don't
just
bother.
good and not immaculate, you're not time.
I think another big problem with this is the lack of any extra shit you can do on it. Like
The fact that it doesn't have Bluetooth blows me away.
Yeah, the
Just
no
straight up now blows
Bluetooth,
me away.
the extra features. Like, if this was something I could use as almost like a tablet in addition to playing, like, then I'd be like, all right, 200, now we can talk about it. But like, I think the lack of features, the lack of like the whole proprietary restriction, and then the internet, like, I'm gonna tell you right now, playing on Wi-Fi sucks. Everybody, it just sucks. It does. Kind of if you're on a console, I think can make it work. But like for that kind of shit, like doubling up, like going through something into something else, it's not gonna be a really awesome experience unless your Wi-Fi is amazing. And Wi-Fi is the hardest thing to make amazing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I commonly have Wi-Fi problems with my kid's computer on Roblox, let alone like other shit. And I have good internet, so like, I don't know.
I mean, and it's not even just internet too. Like, at this point, you have to spend damn near $500 on a good mesh Wi-Fi 6 setup, or else it's just not gonna happen.
It's not worth it. Yeah, it's not worth it. All right, so my next one. This one's a fun one. So, Baldur's Gate 3 has done what no other game can do, and they have actually gotten Microsoft to break their... I don't know what it's called.
The parity.
Yeah.
Are
They broke their parity rules. So, Baldur's Gate 3 is coming to Xbox. It will come to Xbox on all consoles. However, on the One S, there will be no split screen feature for the co-op play. On the One X, there will be. That was the big thing that was hanging them up. But here's what's really fucking cool about this, is Baldur's Gate 3 is doing something that I cannot remember the last game that did this. I am sure there are games that did this. Probably Rocket League, but Baldur's Gate 3 has not just cross-play, but cross-save parity across all 3 mediums. You can take your save from an Xbox to a PC to a PlayStation. It is all the way across the way it should be. So if you save a game on Xbox, you can play that same game save on your PC, on your PlayStation. Of course, you would have to own 3 copies of the game on 3 different mediums. I don't know why you do that, but still, you can. And I think that is really fucking cool. Like, those are 2 huge walls that Baldur's Gate 3 has broken down. And I think, and I've never played Baldur's Gate 3. I don't know if I will ever play Baldur's Gate 3. I don't know if it will end up being Game of the Year for us or anybody else. But I'm going to say this. I think Baldur's Gate 3 will go down in history as a history-making game. It has changed the way we look at RPGs, changed the way we look at AA games, and it has, not just us, because we already kind of looked at AA as the new AAA, but like the general populace, the way they look at AA games, to the point where AAA games are afraid of them. And it has also broken down parity rules and broken down cross-save rules in a way that a lot of other games hasn't. I think this game should go in a fucking Hall of Fame at this point, regardless of whether I ever play it. Just the things it's accomplished in the industry have been unheard of.
Yeah, I know the parity thing has been something that Microsoft has struggled with, because they're trying to effectively be able to say, hey, there's no reason that you have to have one over the other for your console, because they've chosen to do this weird thing with this console generation. To be like, hey, there's no good, better version, because it's all the same.
Right.
The parity thing has screwed them all the way up to this point. And I was reading an article that is exactly what has been holding Xbox back on this generation, not even just, this game in particular. I'm glad that they had the sense to finally say, like, look, it's just not going to happen. Yeah. What are they going to do? Just full on just say, like, nah, we're just not going to release the game on here?
Well, and they would be able to do that if the game wasn't so popular. What I think is interesting, too, is Larian already told them to go fuck themselves because Xbox was trying to buy them. And Sven, I think that's his name, the guy who runs Larian, actually straight up put in the media that, like, they tried to buy us, we decided to stay independent, period. Which is even more like, go fuck yourself, And to then have your game be so earth-shatteringly demanded that Xbox, even after you gave them the middle finger, has to cave on one of their, like, holy grail rules is such a fucking accomplishment. Like, of all the people to fuck the establishment, like, Larian really did. Like, Larian really was like, no, you can't buy us. And I'll tell you another thing. You're going to reverse that parity thing, because otherwise you're going to be the only fucking thing out there you can't get Baldur's Gate 3 on. Have fun with that shit,
I wonder, too, like, did it say when it's coming to Xbox, or just it's coming?
I did not mark it in my notes. I am not 100% sure. I'm going to go ahead and check while you talk.
Because I think it's very interesting, too. There's a lot of people who may have an Xbox but also have a PC. They will have just gone and bought it on PC anyways. I'm wondering what those sales numbers are going to wind up being, because I feel like Microsoft may have shot themselves in the foot at that point.
That's possible.
Because they didn't allow. I mean, that was an issue that happened anytime somebody some sort of either exclusive deal or does not have a very popular game on one platform, everybody rushes to where that needs to be. I mean, or where that is. PlayStation with Street Fighter V, it was the same thing. They straight up and down. It's only on PC and only on PlayStation. That is it. You cannot get it on Xbox, and it suffered as a result. And they learned their lesson.
Yeah.
Because Street Fighter 6 is on damn near everything.
Yeah. Baldur's Gate 3 has a release window of this year, since the announcement was just made that they're going to release the parody. It will come out on PlayStation 5 September 6th.
Yeah.
But we don't have an actual release date for the Xbox version other than this year, is what they said. So before the end of the year. I think it's really interesting. I am very happy with Larian and this game, and I'm happy for them, and I think that the ability to just fucking just John Wick the gaming industry has been pretty interesting to me. You know.
Yeah, basically.
All right, your next one.
So this my last two are kind of short, quick, to the point.
Okay.
The first one of these last two is, it's rumored that there's a God of War Ragnarok expansion in development, and it's 60% complete. So I guess at this point we can do spoilers. I don't
spoilers
think
for God of War Ragnarok, ladies and gentlemen.
Spoilers for God of War Ragnarok. It very much ends on there are multiple avenues presented for future installments.
Okay.
One of them being that Atreus goes off on his own on an adventure. I'm thinking that this is going to be Atreus going off on his own, because it's still going to deal with the Norse realm stuff.
Okay.
Whereas the final act of the God of War stuff that's going to be coming after this is probably going to be Kratos in Egypt, it seems like, but there's nothing officially confirmed at that point.
Okay.
But it's very much kind of sets itself up for one of those, the ever famous Sony $40 not DLC but mini game things.
Yeah, yeah. And that's also probably a trial run for Atreus to get his own series, really.
Possibly, yes.
Yeah. All right, well, my last one is also a quick one. I am actually kind of excited about this one, and I think some of our listeners will be. Warhammer Darktide, the multiplayer, shooter kind of thing that came out earlier this year. It had some trouble. It came out on PC. They delayed the Xbox version. It came into Xbox PC Game Pass. It was announced for Game Pass console as well. They couldn't get that one to work, and then it had a lot of issues when it came out. Microtransaction stuff, but other stuff, some technical stuff. So a lot of people kind of speculated whether it would ever come to console because of that. But it was actually at Gamescom announced that it is coming to console, to Xbox console on October 4th. Warhammer Darktide, the multiplayer shooter, kind of the futuristic Vermintide kind of thing, comes to Xbox Game Pass console. And I know that there are a lot of people, there's a couple of people that I know who have been waiting for that for an extended period and kind of had lost hope that it was coming, but it has been announced October 1st. And I'm hoping they can pull it around, because I'm not going to lie, this was actually on my list as best multiplayer this year. I did not notice any of the bugs. My review is probably the only review that's a positive one out there, because my 5 hours with it was extremely fun. And the only thing I didn't like about it was the microtransaction, the amount of grinding you needed to do to get anything was just way too much, So I'm hoping they redo that, and I'm hoping it kind of makes a comeback.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think I remember this announcement initially, and it was one of those things. I never played Warhammer, but it looked very, very interesting, very doomy.
Yeah, it's hard to define exactly what it is. It's very like it's 4-player co-op. You co-op into a team, and then you take a procedurally generated run. you know, which is just like you move through an area killing everything that moves, basically. And then there's boss fights and other things. Ammo is very limited. You have to be very intelligent about how you use it, which I thought was interesting. Like, it's not shared. Let me put it that way. So one asshole can take all the ammo. And basically, once you get through, you get a bunch of points. You go back to the main hub, and you spend those points on upgrades and new weapons and equipment. And then rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Which can be fun. Those games can be very fun, especially if you have a group that can do it. The biggest problem I had with this game was the rinse repeat was way too much. Like, you start in a prison uniform, you can't even buy an outfit for like I played for 5 hours. I was still in the starting outfit that I had when I was there because I could not make enough money to get just a new shirt. So like that kind of stuff was a little frustrating on me. The grind was too heavy. Yeah, I'm hoping it makes a comeback. I'm looking forward to playing it with friends for a change. The other thing that was very irritating is I'd get on a team with a dude who just ran and picked up all the ammo immediately when it came out. So I never got to shoot my guns in some match. It was like, well, I guess I'm using melee all day because this fucking asshole is just gobbling up all the ammo. But still, I'm excited about it.
So my last one, really kind of straightforward, though I have to laugh that Keeley is his own self-promotion at this point. We could have covered this when we talked about Gamescom, but he announced, the day of that December 7th is going to be the Game Awards this year. So we have an official day for that. I don't know what. He is his own media company.
He really is.
Yes,
he really is. He's like a black hole for gaming media. He just sucks it all into him. Yeah, I fucking hate it. We're gonna have to announce ours soon. We're hitting September, so we're gonna have to start announcing ours.
I feel like I said the same exact thing last year, but I'm like, holy shit! It's like, wow, what the fuck?
And would this be the fifth annual at this point? I think fifth annual. I think this is the fifth annual.
I think this is fourth.
I think this is the fifth annual. I really do. I think we're at 5. I have to look it up. But yeah, 5th annual Horrible Game Awards. I gotta put together the committee. I gotta see who's willing to do it, and we gotta decide on some games. I will say this. I think it's going to be a really interesting year from us because we are always a wide range of people, that I try and get in there. So our nominations are going to be kind of all across the board, and I feel like everybody had a game they could get behind this year, even if it wasn't like an abundance for one person in general. Like, I know Phil has Baldur's Gate 3. He also had another like CRPG that he loved. I've had Remnant 2, Hogwarts, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I know a couple of our guys that I'm going to put in there have had Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Dave the Diver, you've had Tears of the Kingdom, and like a couple of other things. Like, I'm really excited to see our lists this year.
It's the first year I feel confident in saying that I'm not gonna just like put the same 3 things in every single category for nominations.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a very widespread, and I've been keeping my notes, and it's a very interesting list. So I'm looking forward to it. All right, well let's be done. What do you say about that?
I would like to be done. I am tired.
I am as well. We will be right back with the lazy promotion.
Horrible Gaming Podcast.
All right, so that brings us to the end of the show and the shameless self-promotion that comes with it. Neil, would you like to plug anything?
We have achieved a new level of stupid fuckery when it comes to Redfall Down. We have a little bit of what is it going to be? Probably like 2 weeks, 3 weeks before the episode even comes
Actually,
out. I'm just gonna.
the first one should come out this Saturday. I have to. Well, I don't know.
Oh no, it's the one that's just like that we had to
Oh
do the stupid
yeah.
thing.
Oh yeah.
The
I
one that we
think
had to do the stupid thing, and
I
honestly,
think that's a week from this Saturday. I'm not 100%.
Okay, so anyone who cares about this series, just you're going to be teed up for something on that next episode that I wasn't expecting us to have to do. But be prepared.
What blows my mind for that game is it just never ceases to get worse. Like that.
That's what it is.
Like every time I reach a point where I'm like, all right, I'm used to it now. It does something new. That's just like, how is this bad? Like,
I mean, come hell or high water, we got to the next map.
It was insane. It was insane. I haven't edited those episodes yet. I have to edit them. They're fucking. It's insane. That Redfall Down is something else. And Redfall is something else, to be honest. Well, as far as me, we're recording this on Sunday, so I definitely accidentally posted 2 episodes of Prelude to Divorce.
I thought I saw that.
It was 2 of them at the same time.
Yeah, I was like,
set the date wrong.
Just a secondary notification.
No,
like
it's the second one. Apparently, you all watched it because they both did amazing. I don't know why, but they did. But yeah, 2 episodes of Prelude. We might not do an episode this Sunday then. I'm not sure because that was the episode that was obviously supposed to go up this Sunday. But listen, once it goes up on YouTube, what's the point of hiding it and then redoing it a week later, you know? But check that out. I do want to plug something very special to me, which is if you are watching this, you can actually watch it on Spotify now. But if you're watching this in any way, shape, or form, this Thursday, the Thursday after this, I will be streaming at 8 p.m. The new DLC for TMNT Shredder's Revenge. It comes out on the 31st. It has a new survival mode. It adds 2 new characters, Usagi Yojimbo and Kurai. But Stella's going to be streaming it with me. It's not at 8 p.m. It's at 7 p.m. Sorry. 7 p.m. But it's going to be me and my 7-year-old daughter streaming for an hour in the evening for the first time playing this game together. I am so excited about this. She's super excited about it. This is one that we've played together quite a bit. We played it on the Stella show as well. So she's really excited to stream with me. And I'm really excited to stream the game with her. So it's going to be really fun. Please come check us out. Come talk to us. Make Stella's day by saying hi. It's going to be a lot of fun. And watch us play the new DLC, which comes out this Thursday, August 31st. Other than that, I am once again day streaming. I'm doing Remnant 2. I'm going all the way through it with a randomly generated character. I'm in my 3rd stream. That'll have been up on Monday, but I'm going to hopefully do it regularly on Tuesdays. But like every Tuesday, I've had either a colonoscopy or a follow-up or some other insanity happen.
Make it sound like you've had multiple colonoscopies.
I feel like it's been busy. No, just one colonoscopy and one follow-up. But it's going to standard be on Tuesdays. And then, of course, we have all our TTRPG stuff. Please check that out. I do a podcast with Wizards Respite. We also do a lot of streams. We have a new character coming into our next Turtles stream, which is happening on the 7th. And a new player, Jackie Rakes, a wonderful person, new to the channel. I'm very excited to have a 3-person group on that one. So check out all of that stuff. We got the OMG, that's wrapping up Season 2. We got tons of different Let's Plays and stuff. We did 5 things on Texas Chainsaw Massacre as well as a review. So anything you want, you can find on the channel. And you can also contact us on Facebook at OldManGamingDH, on Twitter at OldManGaming9. You can join our Discord, links in the description below. Influence us in all of our shows from there. And as usual, as long as you keep watching and listening, we'll keep making them. We'll see you guys next time. All right.
Bottled water.
What?
I want bottled water. We don't have bottled water.
You should get some bottled water then.
I want to get some. It's like I don't know. I get judged. Kayla judges me all the time.
Why?
She's like, just drink the tap water. I'm like, I don't like the tap water.
Tap
I
water's
like the
gross,
taste.
man.
I mean, the
There's
tap
shit floating
water's-
in that. Get a Brita.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, we have one of those, but that's I don't know. I think I like the quote unquote the minerals added for taste and the fact that it's a sealable bottle that I don't because like how our living room is set up, we have our big ass sectional and we have like an ottoman that's kind of near it there, but like our sectional is so large that if you want your drink, you have to basically climb out of the couch to do it.
Okay.
So I like having just a sealed bottle that I can just set next to me on the couch.
I get that.
We have like I went and bought this thing on Amazon that's like it's like a couch organizer thing that's supposed to like it's a little plastic thing you could like put snacks and like a drink holder and everything in it. But the drink holder thing sucks. It holds on so well that you can't just pull your bottle out. It pulls the whole thing apart every single time.
Right.
So I don't know. I think the bottled water thing is just like trying to have it near me. Plus, I don't know if you've seen the inside of what pipes look like after 40 years.
Here, I got one for you here. Let me give you this. Oh, come on. I'm under this. I'll link you to this page. Just do this first one, man. Right here. Click on that, and then the first image, it's $16. There you go.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I have bottles.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's sealable. It's a sealable plastic bottle. It even looks like bottled water, but it will exist at infinitum. So you just pour the Brita water into that, and then you don't have to worry about spilling it on. I've solved your problem, Neil. I've solved your problem.
No,
okay, so you want the taste.
What, though?
You want the taste.
I think I want the taste
because your
I don't know.
first thing was we're on this couch and it'll spill.
Yeah.
And I solved that problem for you. I can only solve so many problems.
I will say though, you did also present me with the possibility of buying a bulk pack of Gatorade sports bottles for $107.
What? That's not what I.
Well, that's one of the results.
Well, yeah, that was like the second one was like, hey, would you like 50 Gatorade bottles?
Are you? Okay, so now that I've gone down a mini rabbit hole, just very briefly here. So for $107.99, you can get it's a 6-pack of these Gatorade bottles here, and these Gatorade bottles will allow you to customize them.
Oh yeah, there you go.
For 6 athletes, and you can put their name and their jersey number
Oh,
on there.
that's awesome. It's for a team.
You can go all the way up to 72 athletes. Oh, for a modest sum of $1,295.88.
$1,200.
It's a 10% bulk savings.
You should get 365 of them and then name them all a different bro. So like every time you pull it out, like, well, today I'm energy, bro. What?
How much are they selling these fucking bottles for? So almost $1,300 divided by 72. They're $18 a bottle.
We're really down the rabbit hole on this one now.
18 goddamn dollars a bottle.
Well,
got a Yeti over
I mean,
here. And now I'm just shopping. Now I'm just like, actively shopping.
Fast forward to 2 hours from now. Kayla, I'm so sorry. I bought a ton of bottled water and like 1,200 customized Gatorade bottles.
We have a home. You can't do this.
It's like the bed all over again. They glow in the dark, Kayla. I needed them.
Did I tell you? I can't remember if I mentioned to you that I covered up the light.
That you covered up the light because It comes on for anything.
It comes on constantly.
Just roll over.
Oh yeah, it's not. I can't dim it either. It's just full bore.
It's amazing.
Full on.
It's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. All right.
Bottled water.
What?
I want bottled water. We don't have bottled water.
You should get some bottled water then.
I want to get some. It's like, I don't know. I get judged. Kayla judges me all the time.
Why?
She's like, just drink the tap water. I'm like, I don't like the tap water.
Tap
I
water's
like the
gross,
taste.
man.
I mean, the
Shit
tap
floating in that? Get a Brita.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, we have one of those, but that's, I don't know. I think I like the quote unquote the minerals added for taste, and the fact that it's a sealable bottle that I don't, because like how our living room is set up, we have our big ass sectional, and we have like an ottoman that's kind of near it there, but like our sectional is so large that if you want your drink, you have to basically climb out of the couch to do it.
Okay.
So I like having just a sealed bottle that I can just set next to me on the couch.
I get that.
We have like, I went and bought this thing on Amazon that's like it's like a couch organizer thing that's supposed to like, it's a little plastic thing you could like put snacks and like a drink holder and everything in it. But the drink holder thing sucks. It holds on so well that you can't just pull your bottle out. It pulls the whole thing apart every single time.
Right.
So I don't know. I think the bottled water thing is just like trying to have it near me. Plus, I don't know if you've seen the inside of what pipes look like after 40 years.
Here, I got one for you here. Let me give you this. Oh, come on. I'm under this. I'll link you to this page. Just do this first one, man. Right here. Click on that, and then the first image, it's $16. There you go.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I have bottles.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's sealable. It's a sealable plastic bottle. It even looks like bottled water, but it will exist at infinitum. So you just pour the Brita water into that, and then you don't have to worry about spilling it on. I've solved your problem, Neil. I've solved your problem.
No,
okay, so you want the taste.
What, though?
You want the taste.
I think I want the taste
because your
I
first thing was we're on this couch and it'll spill.
Yeah.
And I solved that problem for you. I can only solve so many problems.
I will say though, you did also present me with the possibility of buying a bulk pack of Gatorade sports bottles for $107.
What? That's not what I.
Well, that's one of the results.
Well, yeah, that was like the second one was like, hey, would you like 50 Gatorade bottles?
Are you? Okay, so now that I've gone down a mini rabbit hole, just very briefly here. So for $107.99, you can get, it's a 6-pack of these Gatorade bottles here. And these Gatorade bottles will allow you to customize them.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
For 6 athletes, and you can put their name and their jersey number on
that's
there.
awesome. It's for a team.
You can go all the way up to 72 athletes. Oh, for a modest sum of $1,295.88.
$1,200.
It's a 10% bulk savings.
You should get 365 of them and then name them all a different bro. So, like, every time you pull it out, like, today I'm energy, bro. What?
How much are they selling these fucking bottles for? So almost $1,300 divided by 72. They're $18 a bottle.
We're really down the rabbit hole on this one now.
18 goddamn dollars a bottle.
Well,
got a Yeti over
I mean,
here. And now I'm just shopping. Now I'm just actively shopping.
Fast forward to 2 hours from now. Kayla, I'm so sorry. I bought a ton of bottled water and like 1,200 customized Gatorade bottles.
We have a home. You can't do this.
It's like the bed all over again. They glow in the dark, Kayla. I needed them.
Did I tell you? I can't remember if I mentioned to you that I covered up the light.
That you covered up the light because it comes on for anything.
It comes on constantly.
Just roll over.
Oh yeah, and it's not. I can't dim it either. It's just full bore.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing.